Learn basic data types in JavaScript. Here are some suggestions how to follow along with this tutorial. So at first I will introduce the topic, then I will explain using different images, and then you will be able to write the code on your computer. And also at the end of the video, you will have a code challenge that you might solve by yourself, and then we will solve it together. In this video, I will use Visual Studio Code. I will provide the link in the description, or you can watch my guide on this topic. Let's start from numbers. But at first I want to clarify what means double slash. This means notes or comment, part of the code that people uses to understand what is written in the program, but the computer actually ignores these lines and process the following code without these lines. So they are just notes. We can write numbers as a title for our first section. Let's start from the example 50 minus 20. As you remember, if I save the file by Ctrl+C, I should expect 30 as a result. But to actually see the result in the console, I need to write one additional line. It calls console.log. Console.log. And inside of the parentheses, I can put my equation. In this case, I will write 50 minus 12. If I save the file, I still won't see the results because we need to connect our JavaScript to the browser. I will use HTML file and live server extension from my previous video to connect JavaScript and browser. In the HTML file, I will press Go Live button that is in the right bottom corner. Then you will see a blank page in the browser. I will adjust both these windows, and in the browser I will do right click, then inspect, and here I will find console to see my results. As you see, we have 30 at the result. So because in the JavaScript file we expect 30 from this equation, all it works as intended. In the JavaScript file, I will press Ctrl+B to hide the file explorer. In this way we will have more room. Right now, let's create some variables. Let's start from variable number1. Let number1 equal 10. So I use let keyword to create a new variable where I will store the value of 10. If I save the file, we will not see any changes in the console, but let's change num1 to something more interesting. For example, num1 equals to 10 minus 2. In this case, we understand that the result is 8. To actually see the results, let console.log the num1. .log num1. So if I save the file, we'll see 8 in the result, because num1 equals 10 minus 2. So let's create more interesting example. Num1 equals to num1 plus 92. So in this case, we can't immediately get the result because we see that one number is 92, but the second number is not clear because this is a text. So we need to understand what the number behind this text. And as you remember, num1 is equals to 10 minus 2, so to 8. Console.log num1 will be 100. Because first number equal to 8 plus 92. To better understand how it works, I will show you this simple example. So this is our memory. And as you see, we have memory cells with name of 50 and value of 50. The same as 12 and 12, 2 and 2, and so on. So because we actually can't write let and name with number, because all numbers as name is built in JavaScript and have the same value as the name of the cell. If you write 2, so it will go to the cell 2 and take the value of 2. But as you see, we can have cell num1 that equals to 8 and actually cell 8 that equals to 8. So in different cells, we can have the same data. And what happens if I write num1 equals to num1 plus 92? When I write num1 equals, it means that JavaScript should find the cell with num1 as a name and create a copy of that to change the value to a new one. I will create a copy and then the initial data will be empty, but we can't actually leave this as num1 equals to nothing, because as you see, we have two cells with the same name. But as you remember, we can't have two cells with the same name. We need to calculate the results, and the JavaScript will automatically replace an old one to a new one. When I write num1 equals to num1, it will go to our previous cell and find the value that contains in this cell. In our case, this is 8. So it will add 8, and then I write plus 92. So it will go to the cell, find the label of 92, and get the value of 92 from the cell. Now we see that result of this calculations is 100. So JavaScript will take this cell and replace it instead of old one. So I can delete our old one memory. And now we have new num1 with 100 as a value. So after this line, num1 will not be equal to 8, it will be equal to 100. If I will write let num2 equals to num1, I will see that num2 is equal to 100. Console.log num2. And if I save the file, we see 100 from line 15, what is right here. So we see that num2 is equal to 100, not to 8. Finally, let's create one more interesting example. Num1 equals to num1 minus num1. What will be in the console if I write console.log num1? It will be 0, because it will take num1 that equal to 100 and then subtract the num1 that also equal to 100. So if I write num2 equals to num1 and console.log the result of num2, I will see 0 again. Right now, try repeating the same code by yourself from the memory. Let's talk about strings. I will start from one example. So I wrote word zebra, and as you see, it enclosed in quotes. This means that this is a string or common text. If I write in the console and save the file, you will see zebra as common text in the console. Let's have one more example. Let's animal equal to zebra, and if we console log animal, it will get zebra in the console. Now we have two console logs, and they both return the same word of zebra. So right now I created a variable of my pet that equal to animal. And if I save the file, what we will see in the console? Will it be animal as a word or zebra as a word? The right answer is zebra, because as you see, animal is not enclosed in the quotes. So it means that it refers to some cell that contains the value, and in our case, animal refers to the cell of animal that equal to value of zebra. Let's look at our memory. We have two different cells. One cell animal contains word zebra in quotes, so it means that this is a common word. This data type is string. But the second cell is my pet, contains animal word without quotes. So it means that this refers to the cell that calls animal, and take the value from the cell and copy and paste it. So we will have value of zebra instead of animal here. And right now we actually have two different cells in our memory that contains the same value of zebra. Right now I wrote animal2 that equals to my pet, but as you see, my pet is in quotes. So if I save the file, we will see word my pet in the console, because this is not a reference as in our previous example. This is the final data of my pet, just common word. As you see in the memory, we have animal2 that contains word my pet enclosed in quotes. It means that this is a final data. We don't need to refer to any cell that calls my pet. We don't need it because we have quotes. Right now, feel free to pause the video and write the same code by yourself. The next data type is undefined. You might see two keywords of null and undefined. Null means nothing and undefined means I don't know or nothing. They are both very similar. I created a simple example of undefined value. So I created a cell with the name cell that not equal to anything. And if I save the file, we will see undefined in the console. Let's look at our memory. When I write keyword let, I means that I want to take a one empty cell. So JavaScript gives to me an empty cell, but it waits the name for the cell, and I can write cell as in our code. But then I just finish the code and show in the console the result of cell. But as you see, we didn't change initial value, that was 0 or nothing. So we see undefined in our console because the initial value was empty. Right now you can pause the video and write it by yourself. And our final data type is Boolean. Keyword true and false are actually Boolean data types. And we will use it to say yes or no, or to toggle different values. For example, let is rain equal to false. So is rain implies that this is a question that need to be answered by no or yes. So we can write no or false, and if I console.log this result, we will see false in the console. I toggled the value is rain to true, and now if I save the file, we see false from our first console and true from our second console. Boolean data types are actually very simple, but you will see them all over the place because you can always easily use them if the question needs to be answered by yes or no, true or false. Pause the video and write the following code in your computer. But right now it's time for the code challenge. At first, create the variable with name is lightning, and don't change the initial empty data. Just console log it. It should return the undefined in the console. Then change the value of isLightning to false and create a new variable of energy with initial value of 0 and energy amount with initial value of 5000. Then console log all these values. You should get false, 0 and 5000 in the console. Then change the value of isLightning to true and change the energy by increasing it with energy amount. You need to take initial energy that is 0 and increase it with energy amount that is 5000, and then console log both these values and you will get in the console true and 5000. Then you can toggle back the value of isLightning to false and don't change the energy, so just console log it. You will see false and 5000 in the console. And finally, toggle it back to true and increase the energy by energy amount. In the console, you will see value of true and 10,000. Right now you can pause the video and solve the challenge by yourself. But let's solve it together. We start from keyword let to create a new variable that calls isLightning. Then I just console log this value. So if I save the file, you will see undefined in the console because I didn't change the initial value. I just created a cell with name of isLightning. Then I need to change the value of isLightning to false, create energy and create energy amount. isLightning equals to false, create energy that equals to 0 and create energy amount equals to 5000. We will not change this value anymore. Let console all these values. You can actually write 3 different consoles, or you can write them by the comma. In the one console, you will see the all results in one line. I write all these values in one line and I see them all in the console as false, 0 and 5000. Then I should toggle isLightning back to true and increase energy by energy amount. Let's toggle isLightning to true and change the energy to energy plus energy amount. If I console.log these values, you see that isLightning equals to true and energy equals to 5000 because energy equals to 0 and energy amount equals to 5000. So if we sum 0 and 5000, you will see 5000. Then I need to toggle back isLightning to false and console both these values, isLightning and energy. Let's toggle isLightning to false and console. is lightning and energy. So if I save the file, you see that we have false from is lightning and 5000 from energy because I didn't change the value. And finally, I should again toggle back is lightning to true and increase energy by energy amount. So let's change is lightning to true and energy equals energy plus energy amount. So if I console is lightning and energy, you will see true and 10,000 because previous energy equals to 5,000 and energy amount equals to 5,000. In the next video, we will learn if statements with new code examples and new code challenge.